Hello. I believe this is working. Just check. A few technical issues today for a change. Yep, that's working. Oh, Friday afternoon. Chill, grab a coffee, glass of wine, depending on what you're up for this afternoon. Get some crafty bits. I'm going to finish my witch from the other day with my Art-eza stuff, so I'm going to be using my watercolour pencils, the regular colour pencils, which I purchased myself. They didn't send me those, and the pens. Might add a little bit more gouache, might add some washi, might add this and that, but I don't know. Haven't got that far yet. Hi Susan, Amber, Zen. The weird noises in the background is Maddie, because yet again she's decided to start eating just as I come on camera. I don't know why. It's her thing. So, as you saw in the previous video, this is a proper working review by someone who teaches art classes and creativity classes using the Art-eza products. All the products that I use or used in the first video are all down below. If you don't like live streams and you'd rather not watch this very long stream or the previous one, don't worry, I will be bringing them down into a shorter video for those of you who are the 20-minute attention span. And the rest of you, if you want to craft along, grab some stuff to do and off you go. Is Scooby over his emo fit? He seems to be all right today. I think he's been consumed by the darkness. He has the 1,000-mile stare today. Hello, Mr. Boo. You all right there? Yeah. There's a lot of fireworks and stuff going on during the day and during the evenings and all sorts because people are stupid. So we've got a lot of that going on. Plus it's Friday night. It's the 25th. Diwali is on Sunday. So I'm expecting fireworks all weekend as well. That's going to be a nightmare. So going to put you on the big TV, can't get the iPhone to pair, don't want to miss you on live. Oh, Holly Pete. Oh, are you winter what's it on Instagram? Have I just put 2 and 2 together? Because that looks like the same. Journaling and drinking tea already. Excellent. Way ahead. That's what I like to see. Where was I? I don't know. I interrupted myself. All the links. Sorry, Art-eza. Sorry. All the links for all the products I've used are down below. They are affiliate links, so they earn me a little bit of a kickback, but I would not promote products that I don't think are worth getting. I am looking at these products strictly from the point of view of a person who teaches art online, and would I recommend these to my students or not? So far, so good. Gouache, 100%. Watercolour pencils, if you like watercolour pencils, yes. If you don't, or you've not used them, or you're not sure, maybe don't. You might be better off with the watercolour paints. I haven't tried the watercolour paints, but my gut instinct is the watercolour paints with the colour pencils might be better. Colour pencils, absolutely, 100%. Gel pens, jury's still out on that one. We'll see how that goes today. The water brushes, I found my tiny little brush. Look, I found the little one. Here he is. That's the tiny one. Super fine for detailing. I might use that one today. Because don't forget, this is gouache, so this will reactivate with water. which means if I use watercolour pencil over it and then I blend it with water, I can get some nice blending effects. So it's not just like pencil over watercolour. You can actually blend it in to the paint that's already there, which is very cool. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. The water brushes, yes, they're good, but I think honestly, if I had to choose again, I would spend the extra little bit and get the red set, which are better quality bristles, hold more water, and they seem to work a little bit better. From what I've seen, I haven't tried them, but from the way I've seen, what I've seen of other people using them, I know Mini Small did a review with the red brushes. So yeah, I would probably go for the red set, or even the green set might be better than these. These are very basic. These are more for crafters, I think, than art. Does that make sense? Like people who just want to throw some gelatos on a page and make it wet. That kind of craft. Or just, you know, adding a little bit of colour pen to a stamped image and watercolouring to blend it out. That kind of craft. I think those are very well suited to that because they're good size and they hold a lot of water. But I think the red ones are better for art, like the watercolour paints and stuff like that. I hope that makes sense. Let's get on with it. Now, I did mention the other day that I thought the 72 set of watercolour pencils was a little bit of overkill, especially given you can blend them together, and that there were an awful lot of colours that were very, very similar. Now, that can be a good and a bad thing, but here's an example of what I mean. I just pulled out all the purples from a 72 set. Now, normally in a 72 set, you'd get maybe 3 purples, if you're lucky. This is what you get in the Art-eza set. These are all purple. So we've got, let's put them dark to light. Well, technically that's blue. It's ultramarine. It's called a blue, but it looks purpley when you actually put it down. So we'll take that one out, just for the argument's sake, because it does say it's a blue, although I don't think it's very blue at all. So this is what we've got. We've got amethyst, purple iris, which is a really pretty colour actually. That's that one that I used the other day. UBE, I'm not familiar with that word. Lavender, eggplant and lilac. And I'm pretty sure there's another one because there's like a mauvey. There's like a pale version, like a creamy words. There's one that's this sort of colour, but I can't see it. I can't see it right now. And I don't want to be rooting around looking for pencils because I don't need that colour right now. The colour is already on here. But yeah, 6 purples. A little bit of overkill, I think. Glue bookers and junk journalers. Yeah, I use this for my junk journaling. I use these for my junk journaling when I'm just throwing colour on to like blend edges and stuff like that. I wouldn't use these with glues because they're water brushes. But yeah, if you're just throwing a bit of paint on or activating a bit of a Statler pencil or something like that, these are great for that kind of stuff. But for actual art like this, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them. I suspect the red ones are better for that. Don't know how much you'll be able to watch or participate. You're babysitting. Ah, have you got the little one with you? Is my buddy there? Hi. Hey, Mika. And then there's this one. This is blue. It's ultramarine, but it does look blue. It does look purple to me. It doesn't look blue. It doesn't look like what I would expect ultramarine to look like. there's the brittleness that you get with the watercolour pencils when you try and use them too high on the end. That's why I was showing you use them on the side. And contrary-wise, I think I'm correct in saying that this and this, in the 48 set, you're going to get 2 purples, amethyst and lavender. So you go from 2 to 6. Now, if you like purple, that's great, but I think 6 purples, maybe a little bit of overkill. Maybe? I don't know. I'd have been perfectly happy with those 2. I'm going to put the blue one in there. I don't think I need the blue one. So these are the 6. So these are, this one's pinky. That's lilac. This one is pinky. That's the purple iris, which is basically that colour. And then this one is pinky, which is eggplant. So you've basically got a light, medium and dark of 3 pink pinky purples. Brain, come on brain, let's go, let's go. And then these are, well, this one is still slightly pinky, but I guess they're, compared to those, they're bluer, maybe. Amethyst. Lavender. And oob or ooby. UBE, anybody know what that actually means or is or whatever? See the brittleness when you're, this is why I say don't sharpen them to super pointed. Like these, you can sharpen them to super pointed, and because they're creamy, they work really well. These, you could just use an ordinary pencil sharpener. You don't need super pointed on these because they'll just keep doing that. I mean, if you were doing dry detail work afterwards, then yes, but not for wet work. So this, oh, that's a tiny one as well. Where's the big one? Where's the big brush gone? Where's my big brush gone? Where's the big brush gone? Ah, there he is. And again, I don't squeeze these, I just shake them and the water comes out. No need to get crazy unless you want to do a wash, but I don't think you'd really do a wash with watercolour pencil like this. You'd do it, or I would do it, by scribbling the paper, scribbling the pencil onto something like plastic or wax paper, or even using just a knife or a pair of scissors to just scratch some of the colour off and then wetting it and then doing a wash with it. I wouldn't put it on the paper like this and do it that way. I need to wash the brush, get the colour off. And as before, put the water on, let it activate the paint, and then go back in and just very lightly start to blend, and you won't get so many pencil marks that way. Maddie, stop doing that please, it's gross noise. So you can see they're really pretty colours, but I don't necessarily think you need this many purples in a set. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like to use like dark colours. And I don't usually use purple either, so well, not very often anyway. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do today is using the gel pens We've got two very nice purples in here. Oh, it does work. It was just a bit dry on the end. Probably still had red up sticky on it. Okay, so we've got the pinky purple and the blue purple. Now you can blend these with water if you do it straight away. See? But you're still going to get the lines. And if you leave it, certainly if you leave it overnight on certain types of paper, but if you leave it for a length of time, they don't actually smudge. See, that pink has dried enough that it doesn't smudge that well. So what I'm going to do today, for a change, something I don't normally do, I don't normally just use black and be done with it, but I thought today I'd use the tone on tone for the outlining to show you how that works and how it blends in with the pencil once you've put it all together. So I think I'm probably going to use the dark purple, not the pinky purple. And I need a red for her hair. I think this red will probably be about right. Oh, that's magenta. Oh, that's too pink. You see what I mean? You can't always tell from the outside what colour it's going to be. I wouldn't have guessed that that was going to be bright pink. There is a nice rusty red somewhere, but I don't know if it's here. That's a scarlet red. That'll do. There was a nice rusty red. Where did the rusty red go? Maybe that's what I thought was the rusty red. Never mind. Let's see what the brown's like. See if it's a yellow brown or a ginger brown. Oh, the brown might be okay for bits of her hair as well. I think I'll use the red to begin with. I might use the brown later. Of course, we're going to need orange for the pumpkin. I've got two oranges and I believe one of them is fluorescent. I've got a couple of fluorescent colours. I've got yellow, green, pink and orange. So that's pumpkin orange, regular orange. And this one I think is the neat, oh, bit of plastic on that one. Oh, it's just a darker orange. I thought it was neon. Okay. And I'll probably use both the oranges then for the pumpkin. All right then, let's start at the top and work down, like we didn't do last time. The quick throw down colour style of crafting. Yes, exactly. Rather than, I mean, I wouldn't use this kind of brush normally for this kind of artwork. But if you're just throwing some colour on a page or doing some swatches or something like that, they work really well. Winterberry. I thought, yeah, same logo. I thought it was you. See, when people use the same logo, I know who they are. I recognise Zen as well because of his profile picture. You DM'd me the other day, didn't you? I can't remember. James, is it? I can't remember. Jamie, something like that. It's probably completely wrong now, but I recognise the profile picture, so I know I've spoken to you. See, when people keep their profile pictures the same everywhere, I don't have this whole, do I know you? Have I met you before? Hey, Ash. While I remember, sorry, I'm going to get started in a second. Just give me a second. I need to make Mika an admin while I remember. Add moderator. There we go. You now have phenomenal cosmic power, Mika. Doesn't do very much. Okay, so start, I think, with the moon. Let's do that because that'll be fun. So I'm going to grab the greyish mauves. I struggle to find the colours under this light. I'm going to use the watercolour pencils. And I'm going to use, there's black. I'll keep the black one out because I might need that. I'm going to use the grey. There's the smoke colour. And that charcoal colour is really nice. That's a dark colour. And I'm determined to find elephant today because that is a really nice colour to use. And I want to use elephant for my moon. Gosh darn it. I might use the white as well, actually, and see if the white is opaque. I don't know if it is, but we'll see. Elephant! There we go. It's a nice bluey, purpley grey. Space grey, that's a nice colour. This is why I don't like keeping my pencils in a box, you see, because I like to rummage through them. That's a really nice, this is called Sage. It's actually green grey, but it's a really nice, almost graphite type grey. Sorry for the typos. Oh, I'm dyslexic. I don't even notice typos. Yeah, Mika's been absolutely fab, helping me out while KK's off. She's going great guns, doing all my spreadsheets and stuff for me while I'm trying to do 3 different classes at once. Okay, so these are the greys. I'll swatch them for you, I might as well. So this is charcoal, which is a nice kind of almost graphite grey, actually. Elephant, which is the one that I really enjoy using. It's a nice kind of taupey neutral grey. It's a true neutral grey. It's a really nice colour. It's great for shadowing. We've got, this is space grey, which is a little bit greener. And then we've got, where's the other one? Smoke, which is kind of a, it's like a light version of that one. So this is a cool grey. This is more like a French grey, this one. Sorry. So you can see there's quite a wide variety of greys. You don't normally get that many greys. I think they've really thought about the colours. I think they decided to do colours that other sets wouldn't normally do, maybe. I don't know. So I'm going to start light to dark, and I think I'm probably going to use Elephant, which is the one I like, which is a really nice mid-tone grey. That's this one. I'm going to use the charcoal for the dark areas. I'm going to use a little bit of the space grey. I don't think I need the neutral grey for this one. And if I want to go a little bit darker or a little bit lighter, I've got black and white over here that I can add. So what I'm going to do is start with a couple of light patches. Let's get, just to make it a little bit easier, let's get a picture of the moon. Because contrary to popular belief, artists don't work out of their heads all the time. We use references, whether it's models or photos or whatever. We don't just know what everything looks like. We go and look things up or take photos or whatever to get the nuances. All this painting from your imagination is okay. Let's have that one because it's got the same background colour. This is from Wikipedia as well, so nice big old full moon picture. and that gives you an indication of where you're going to want to put your lights and darks. See, now I'm going to put it there. I think it should just about be on screen for you to see. Yes, yes. So with my light grey, I'm going to start penciling in the main shapes. So there's a big blob up there and there and there, and an overlapping blob there, and there's one that would be behind her hat. There's one there. And then coming over this side, we've got a big kind of long blob there, and a blob, and a blob, and a blob. And then we've got kind of joining bits there. So the first thing I'm going to do is colour all of those blobs with the light pencil. Remember, using more than one tone together will give you a little bit more depth. And I'm using the side of the pencil. I think maybe I've missed one there as well. Okay, and I'm going to blend that out first, and I don't want to use a huge amount of water because I don't want to totally reactivate the colour underneath. Let's just make sure the brush is clean. Where's my rag gone again? I keep putting it away. I need to stop doing that. I think you can see straight away that it's not just laying the grey down, it's actually picking up the cream underneath and mixing the grey into it. That's the fun of using watercolour pencil over gouache as opposed to watercolour pencil over regular watercolour. With regular watercolour, it won't normally just accidentally squeezed that because it just blobbed water everywhere. It won't normally reactivate the watercolour underneath. It might shift it a little bit, but it won't do a lot. But this is actually picking up the cream colour underneath. So if I go over here and I paint over this bit here, you can see there's cream on my brush. So it's actually picking up the colour and mixing it in. But that's what we want because that gives us this soft effect here. Hey, Alan. So I'm going to let that dry. I want the layer with the light and the layer with dark to blend together. So I want this to dry so that it technically it's more gouache with colour mixed into it, so that when I put the dark colour on, it'll blend again. I don't want the dark colour to just sit on top. So let's now do some of her hat. Now I'm going to have to be careful here because this is wet, and these, when before they're allowed to cure, they do react with water. So I don't want to do that bit of her hat until that bit's dry. So I'm going to start down here. Now, for writing, I found these pens really annoying. I mentioned this in the previous video. Let me see if I can just zoom down a second so you can really see what's going on here. If you work too fast, these skip like crazy, which is really annoying when you're writing. Trust me, those of you who write slow have no idea what it's like to have a pen skip every 5 seconds when you're trying to write. But when you're drawing, it's actually a benefit to have it skip. See? Because now I'm getting, see how I'm not getting one thick line? When I'm outlining, I don't just want one big, thick, solid line. I don't want it to look like a colouring book. I want to put colour in that allows me to add nuances. So the fact that they skip a bit is actually a benefit when you're colouring like this, when you're outlining. Now that's not to say that I would jump up and down and say, yeah, these pens are amazing. Go and get the pens. Yeah, they're fantastic. I would actually not say that at all. I don't think they're all that great. They're nothing to write home about, if I'm honest. But that doesn't mean that they don't work. It just means that they're not great. You know, there are better pens on the market. Of course there are. That's kind of dry now, so I'll draw on the purple rather than on the cream. And hopefully that will not go and blend into my moon. So that's on the regular gouache, and then on the metallic gouache, you can see it works as well. It works on the gouache because the gouache is matte, of course. You'll find the same with acrylic. You won't be able to do stuff on shiny or satin or whatever acrylic, like the Logitech acrylics. Most of those are not matte, so you won't be able to do that. But on the matte craft acrylics or the fresco paints or something like that, you can absolutely use gel pens over the top of those because they're matte. So you can see you get a very uneven line. Now, if you think of pens as being, they don't skip, they give a nice even line, they do this, they do that, don't buy these pens. They'll drive you insane. They do colour quite well, so if you just want to colour little bits and pieces or just do doodles, then I'm sure they'd be fine. If you like to outline in colour, they work well if you like the sketchy style. But like I say, buyer beware on the gel pens because they're not that great. So you can really see there with the moon as well. You see the dappled effect you get with the watercolour on the moon. Let me see if I can do the moon with a close-up camera like this as well. So I'm going to go back in to, you see there's the moon picture. So I'm going to go back in and do these darker areas, which is mostly round this side and round this side. The bits in the middle are a much lighter colour. That's still a little bit wet. I'm just going to dab that with a cloth just to get that pool of water out of there. I don't need that. Okay, so we've got a darker section here. Oh, it's still a little bit damp, but that's okay. It should still activate because it's on the gouache. This colour here. Okay, the gouache is not as dry as I thought it was, but it'll be alright. We're going to wet it anyway, so it won't matter. This area is quite dark. And then we've got kind of a shadow that goes across that way at the top there. So we'll blend that out as well. And I'm just going to use this very tiny brush for this because I don't want to add too much water to it. It's quite wet already, so I only want to activate the pencil. Just purple on that brush. There we go. Don't know what you're eating down there, but can you stop it? Sounds gross. Every time the dogs go out, their feet get wet, so they've started licking. I swear if they keep licking I'm going to get them boots because the licking noise drives me insane. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more water just to these outer areas. Again, you can see it's blending into the cream. Which is what we want for this. We want it to blend in. I want that watercolour effect. I could have done the whole moon in gouache, but it's quite nice to use mixed media and do something different. Remember, a lot of the times it doesn't look much up close. I think this is why people judge their art so harshly. They're like, oh, well, this doesn't look right. But sometimes you've got to stand back from it and give it a minute. Take a break from it and go, actually it's not as bad as I thought. Okay. Now once that is completely dry, probably at the end of the session, I will come back in and I'll do some purpley bits and some white pen. You can see that's the shadowy bits of the moon now. And I need to come back in and do like the white craters and things. I'll do those in gel pen, and I'll just add some purpley bits just to give it a little bit of a tone on tone look, but I'll do that with dry pencil over the top. Oh, whoops, broke the camera. Yay, of course I did. It wouldn't be a live session if I didn't break the camera, would it? Refocus. See? At a distance, now it looks like a moon. It will do when the water dries. Salaried staff member, you get called at 1 AM for work stuff. Well, try working for yourself. You get called at 3 AM for work stuff. Okay, so before I move on to the dress, I'm going to use the same technique on the dress and the hat. So let's work on the hat first, and then I can show you what I mean about blending the colours in. So I think I want to use this, I didn't write down all the names. So that's the pink, that's a pinky one, and that's a pinky one. I don't want pinky ones. I want this column. So maybe I take it back. Maybe there aren't too many purples. Maybe 3 pinky and 3 purple, 3 bluey are okay. Maybe. So is this the lavender? Yeah. So with the lavender, no, with the amethyst, I'm going to do the dark bit of the hat underneath. And I'm completely colouring it in because I want it to blend in with the dark colour with the gouache. So when I reactivate it, I don't want it to look washy like this. I want it to be a solid colour. It'll still look painty. But I think you can also see there how I should have left it closer, shouldn't I? Sorry. Can you see how the purple ink is blending slightly with this is actually wet, it's reflections. But can you see how the ink is blending slightly with this purple colour. One thing I have noticed about the Art-eza stuff is that although you won't necessarily find a gel pen called Amethyst or whatever, once you actually swatch your colours, you'll find that a lot of the colours are very consistent. So this purple colour is the same colour as this. Sorry, this purple colour in the middle over here is the same colour as this, but they're called different colours in the gouache and the pencil. I think they could have done a little bit better with naming the colours. You know, if that's the same colour, they should have called it the same colour, I think. But I like the fact that the colours do gel together quite well. This Amethyst and the gel pen are almost identical colours, as you can see. So I'm going to put some more shadows into the hat. So I think there would be kind of, if we assume the moonlight's coming from that direction, there's going to be some shadows on this side of the hat. So I'm going to add a little bit of pencil under the hat here. And on this side of the hat, and I'm doing it in chunks because it's fabric, so it would probably be a little bit chunky. And again, I want it all to blend. There you can see the pen activating with the pencil. I like that. Some people would not like that. I do like that. But I also like the fact that you've got an option that if you want to leave them for a while, you can. I'm still not saying the gel pens are great, okay? There are better options for gel pens. Especially here in the UK, we are lucky enough to have Uniball very, very easily available and cheap here. I know not a lot of people have that, but... And then since this side of the hat is bending down towards us, so the moonlight is coming from behind above, so this side of the hat I think would have a bit of shadow on this edge as well. So let's strengthen that coming down this way. And because I want it to blend from light to dark, I'm going to start on the light edge and blend it in towards the pencil and down towards the pen, so that the pen is the darkest bit. And if you're going from dark to light again, don't forget to wipe your brush off. There we go. Hard to see because it's not dry, but look at that. You can see the metallic sheen on that metallic gouache. I love the gouache. Of all the products that they sent me, the gouache is the one that I would absolutely spend the money on again for myself. Get it. It's amazing. And the pencils, the regular pencils are really good. Not entirely sold on everything else yet. Okay, so let's work downwards. Now her face, I already put some colour into her face. This is all gouache. And what I want to do is blend it out, but I couldn't find my little tiny brush. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm literally going to reactivate this dark pink with the brush. And I'm just blotting it. I don't want to spread it around. I don't want brush strokes in it. I'm literally just wetting the colour, because if I do that, what will happen is it will pick up the colour underneath, and as you can see, that now blends in. Now her ear I've got to be careful of because it keeps picking up the red. I don't want it to pick up the red. See, it's done it again. I'm going to blot that bit, I think, to to get rid of that bit of red that is sat there. Because that is the problem. It keeps... Oh, dog hair. Good thing about gouache is you can lift it, so there we go. I'll have to sort that out in a minute. Let's pull the hair down over that bit. There we go. I can do that with colour pencil though. The same with Uniball. You find them in news agencies for... Yeah, Uniball and Bic are very, very common here. They're the school pens. And you can literally, you can pick up a Bic ballpoint in a newsagent's for 10p. I don't know if Art-eza has a dedicated Australian shop. I haven't seen one. Maybe that's something they should consider, because you guys really get a bum deal when it comes to actually getting anything to you, because you don't have Amazon or anything anymore, do you? So just reactivating the bits, not really spreading them about, just making them wet so that they blend into the colour that was under there before. I'm going to do her face with colour pencil, so because I'm better with colour pencil than trying to do paint on that smaller scale. Okay, let's do her hair. I don't want to go overboard with her hair, but I do want to even out these tresses a little bit. So I'm basically going to do the same as I did with the hat. I'm going to outline, and I'm going to do just some little detail. I've got a couple of bits that might need to be coloured in. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. I'm really just smoothing out the edges of the paint with the pen. To get a nice even edge. So her hair is soft and shiny. You don't do a lot of art, so you're happy with the cheap brands. Yeah. The thing is, and this is, you know, this is an Art-eza video, so I have to say what I honestly think. Cheap, as in not that great, but it'll do, and cheap as in not very expensive, are not the same thing. And I do think some of the products, especially the gouache and the pencils, so far I would say were absolutely worth the money. I don't think you can get a set of 60 gouache tubes of this quality for 40 quid in any other brand. And it is like using professional quality gouache. Jury's out on whether it's light fast, but you know, honestly, gouache was never meant to be light fast, so I'm pretty sure some of the other brands are not light fast either. I'm not going to outline the whole hair, I just want to get some evenness on the ends here. I do always say to my students that if you're going to do, if you're going to invest in something, get the best you can afford. But just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's good. There's an awful lot of very expensive products that are not that great, if we're honest, there's other stuff that's cheaper that's just as good. Even up around this pumpkin as well. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with her neckline yet. So now I'm going to just start putting in some... Okay, that red's not going to show up, so let's use the brown. Because I think with the gel pens being wet, I think of course they're picking up the gouache underneath and mixing with it. So I think if I use the brown we'll get a bit better. There we go. And again, since the moon is above, might as well add a little bit of shading to the hair, like that. Let's see, I think we could have this bit come from behind her shoulder here. I'm going to edge her face as well, because that would be in shadow, and so would this under her hat, that would be in shadow as well. I'm not going to edge her face, I'll do that with the pencil in the lighter colour. And then it's literally just a case of breaking up the strands. So let's have that one coming across there like that. I think I shouldn't have drawn that line there actually, but I probably should have gone that way. Doing this with the darker pen because it's underneath the pumpkin, so it was kind of in shadow. Same with this. There we go, just enough to break it up into sections. Cheap as in not expensive, yeah. Oh, you do still have Amazon, but it's very limited. Oh, right, okay. I don't want to do this side of the hair yet because I don't know if the gel pens smudge or not. Well, it says they don't smudge, but that's assuming you use them on paper. I'm using them on top of gouache, so I can't say how long it's going to take them to dry. So I'm going to work from kind of that way down the page now. So I need to do the pumpkin before I do anything else, but I've got the brown out, so I might as well do her stick here as well, hadn't I? Putting a few details of the wood. I mean, I'm going to go in with pencil and do this again anyway, but I do like the fact that you can get kind of a uneven look to it. Okay, the pumpkin, I want it to stand out. So I think I'm going to go with the darker orange. Now, because I'm using a wet gel pen over gouache, the gouache in some way will be getting up into the gel pen, and once it dries it will go hard, so your pen won't work properly the next time you use it. So you'll have to scribble with it to get it working. But you can also just dip it in a tiny bit of water, not much, just a tiny bit of water, and then just kind of do that to loosen the paint around the ball, and that will take the gouache out of the pen as well. So little tip there if you're using gel pens over gouache. You don't need to do that with ballpoint pen, the Bic type ballpoint pens, because they're oil based, so the oil and water don't, the oil prevents the gouache from drying out, so, which is why I am a ballpoint pen fanatic. I love my ballpoint pens. Have I mentioned I like ballpoint pen? And again, for me, I'm enjoying the sketchy look. I'm enjoying the fact that, oh, actually, I want to change pens. I want the middle pen for this bit. I'm enjoying the sketchy look to this, because the pens skip a bit, but that might not be everybody's cup of tea. Okay, now I have to think about this because I always get this wrong. I think I want to put, yeah, the top is in shadow. And it's set in, so the bottom will actually be the medium colour. See, that's mixing in with the gouache. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Refocus a bit better. It's mixing with the gouache because I'm going over it like this. I'm not just drawing a straight line. If I just drew a straight line, I'd get a scratchy line, and I actually want this to be solid because it's the skin thickness of the pumpkin, obviously. Okay, now that's going to be in shadow. Those bits are going to be in shadow. These bits you're not going to see. So that's just going to be, let's just give that just a little bit of edging. Is that the orange? Yeah. And then this bit is going to be the dark. These would work well for colouring stamps, actually. Have you missed much? I think you've missed about an hour. I've done the moon, I've done her hat, I've done her hair on one side, and I've done the pumpkin I'm in the middle of. You haven't missed a lot, but enough. Now, the gel pens do not come with a white. So, trusty white Uniball Signo is coming out now. And I'm going to do some highlight on the pumpkin. Just bits where I think the moon would catch it. And I think this bit would probably be in shadow. Now again, that's white, wet gel pen over gouache. So that's not going to stay white. You'll see it as it dries, it would go almost as if it's going transparent. It will do the opposite of what it normally does. Normally it looks more opaque as it dries. This one will look less opaque because the wet gel underneath, or the wet ink underneath, the top bit of the gel will dry, underneath will take a little bit longer, so it'll mix with the gouache, so it'll start to go kind of a creamy colour. Taking a break from paperwork. Good plan. It's Friday afternoon, it's Friday afternoon, get your pens out and play. Okay, so I'm going to do some more detailing on the pumpkin in regular colour pencil. Now the regular colour pencil are not part of the review that they asked me to do. I purchased the colour pencils separately because I wanted to see how different they were from the the watercolour pencils, and how they compared to something like Prismacolors, which used to be amazing and now are, let's say, not quite so amazing. So I purchased these myself and I really like them. I think they work very well. So I'm going to go in and do a little bit of additional shading. It won't show up quite so well on the orange on camera because orange is notorious for not showing up very well, but I'm just adding some patches of uneven colour because the gouache lays down very, very evenly. And I want my pumpkins to look a little bit less sort of perfect, if you like. And then I can use this is the burnt ochre colour, which is kind of an orangey brown. And I can use that to blend the orange pencil and the gel pen together, because this brown is almost the same colour as the gel pen. Not quite, but it's close. Soften those edges up a little bit. And it's flesh rather than edge. And then I'm going to go back in with the orange and blend the brown. Blend the brown up into the orange paint with the orange pencil, because the orange pencil is the same colour as the paint. So by using, this is literally tone on tone. So I've done the outline with the gel pen to get the dark areas, and then I've smudged around that with the dark pencil, and now I'm coming back in with the orange to smudge the dark pencil back into the light paint, so it's smooth again, but the colour is uneven. See? Tone on tone is a great trick for getting things to work so that they look a bit realistic, but not entirely. I like to use my tone on tones. We do a lot of tone on tone shading in class, don't we, guys? 3 colours of this and 5 colours of this. Okay. So let's do the same with our hair. I've also already picked the sienna brown and the magenta. I think the magenta maybe might be a bit purpley, a bit pinky. Maybe I need the other red. There's a couple of different, there's quite a few different reds in here, to be honest. Some of them are very red and some of them are very pink. I definitely want the brown. I wonder if that carmine red would be better. Oh, that's quite pink as well. So is that. Okay, why are all the reds pink? Ah, there we go, it's proper red. That is rose red. Rose red is the one that's proper red, everything else is pink. I think they might have got crimson and rose the wrong way around there. I think I like those two. Oh, no, that's purple. Is there a, let's see if there's a red watercolour. No, that's magenta. Sienna brown, okay. Oh, garnet. Let's try that one. Aha! Reddish brown, there we go. So this is a watercolour pencil, but I use it dry. That will be better than that one, because it's less pinky. So I'm going to use the brown anywhere it's shaded. So her hat, if we imagine her hat probably comes down around here, or the shadow of her hat rather, comes down around here. So all of this is going to be quite dark. These bits that are underneath are going to be dark. Means I can even out this edge finally. And then, I haven't done this side, I'll do this side in a minute. This is under her at the back. So that is going to be quite dark. Let's use the lighter red now for the light bits. So is that light enough? Oh yeah, it's light enough. It's working. So what I like to do is blend the dark down and the light up into each other. And then where they join, I'll go over that bit with the middle colour. I missed that bit. I need my other light on. I'm losing light. I can't believe it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's dark. There, you can see the pink, the light red better now. And then I'll go back in with the middle colour, which happens to be a watercolour pencil, but because I'm blending it doesn't really matter. So I'm blending the light pencil into the dark pencil and also blending the light and dark pencil into the gouache colour, the same as I did with the pumpkin. And because this is the colour of the gouache, again it's tone on tone. So I've got tone on tone and shading in this, in the hair. When you're actually doing it, it doesn't look like much. It's, you know, you almost look at it and you go, is that making any difference? But on camera, it really does make a difference. You can see her hair is starting to get some lovely nuances in colour. See you later, Mika. Some more dark in here. Blend the two together with that colour in the middle. And I'm following the strands of the hair, so I'm trying to keep it going the way it should. You don't want to start colouring hair this way all of a sudden. And follow the shape of the strands. And back over some of these dark bits just to give them a little reddish tint, especially where they meet. So we've gone from having completely flat colour here to, oh, she's got wavy hair and it's all flowing in the breeze. Okay, I'm going to have to finish my coffee because it's hand time. And I'm out of coffee now. Somebody go make me a coffee. Please, grab me a coffee from Starbucks. You're not feeling very well. Oh. Sounds like you got the flu if you've got stomach ache and backache. That's starting with the flu, that is. Just go back to bed. Okay, thanks for joining us then. See you later. Right. The dress. Now the dress, I'm going to do some of it in pen, but I'm going to do most of it in pencil. So let's get the 3 lavender and amethyst. So there's the amethyst watercolour, there's the lavender watercolour, and these are the colour pencils now. Now, the difference between the colour pencils and the watercolour pencils, the watercolour pencils, although they look the same colours, these are hexagonal and the colour pencils are smooth, which is both good and bad. It means you can easily, without even looking, tell the difference between the two lavenders, for instance. These are both the same. Nope, that's not lavender. These are both the same colour. At first glance, you wouldn't be able to tell which was which, but even without looking, you can tell which one is the watercolour pencil. But that does mean that your colour pencils have a tendency to roll off the table. Ask me how I know. So, yeah, just be aware of that. I'm going to need to use the oob colour. I might need some charcoal. So I'm using the same colours as I did for the hat, but I'm using the regular pencils now. And the first thing I'm going to do is just with the lightest tone on tone pencil, just decide what I'm going to do with this dress. So I think that's probably where her bust line would be. She's got footballer's shoulders. I don't know how that happened. I might have to come in and change the hair a little bit. And I didn't do very much with the neckline either. Okay. Yeah, let's sort this shoulder out. What's going on here? Let's give her a little bit of a dip in her shoulder there. And a little bit more roundness and puffiness on the sleeve like that. And we can fill that in with the gel pen, because the gel pen, the red gel pen, is the same colour as the hair. So we can actually redraw that with the red. I think she needs a little bit of a cuff. And a bit of a neck line there. There we go. Yeah, I still think her shoulder is a bit wide there, but maybe I should just bring her hair down over her shoulder like that. That would look better. So I'm just going to colour over that with the gel pen, and then when the gel pen dries, I'll go back in with the pencil, and with a bit of luck you'll never know that her hair was doing anything else. And when I'm finished doing the pencil on the dress, I'll go back in and I'll do maybe a curl hanging down just over her dress, because curls do that. Okay, let's go in with the pen on the dress now. So let's give her a collar here. I don't like the way that folds that way. It needs to be a bit more that way. Yes, that's better. Okay, so that's going to be kind of like a bit of a split in her tunic. So that's going to be the same colour as the skirt, which is sort of this colour. So let's cover that over there, like that. Yeah, that looks good. The skirt edge coming down like that. We also want a couple of flares coming down in the skirt, I think, from the underneath of her robe. Yep. Okay, so this is going to be dark in here. This is coming round her hand. That's going to be dark in there. That's coming down like that. A little bit of a wrinkle in her sleeve here and there. This is going to be dark, so I'm just going to do this with the gel pen because it's a tiny space and it's going to be very dark in here. Plus it will make that pumpkin stand out. I have noticed with these pens, the lighter you press, the better they work. So if you just kind of skim them, they work quite well. If you try and press too hard with them, you get kind of pen strokes in them. It's a little bit annoying for colouring, but bear in mind I am colouring over paint, so perhaps it works better on paper. But judging by my pen swatches, it works the same way on paper. There we go, that's good, I like that. Let's finish that hair before we do anything else. So grab that brown. This is coming out from under her chin. So I'm going to do all of this bit brown, I think. Underneath. And in there. And then blend it up with the red onto this bit. Yep, you'd never know there was anything underneath that now. That looks much better. Okay. Step the next. I think I want to put in a shadow under this hair on the dress like that. And then I'm going to use the red again, just for going around this outline. I'm just going to colour over that mauve, those mauve bits where I've changed the outline. And when it dries, I'll blend it out with the other colour, with the pencil. Oh! Ugh. I'm going to need some more coffee in a minute, I think. Might have to have a coffee break. Oh. How you doing with your projects over there? Anybody still crafting away? Oh, hey Cody, sorry I didn't see you come in. So I'm going over some of the areas of the white where it's kind of gone creamy, just to give it a little bit of a oomph with yellow, because he is meant to be on fire. he's looking good now. I like the pumpkin. I think he looks pretty awesome. Oh, I've got a yellow gel pen here. I wonder if that... Oh, it's neon. I wonder if I can put a little bit of that in his eyes. A bit more fire in there. I don't know, I think it's the same colour as the gouache. Okay. Ooh. Nearly there. So, I think I should have done this ribbon on her hand in the metallic gouache. Where's my metallic set? There they are. There's the purple. Oh, tell me I put it back in the wrong pot now. Go on. I think I did. I think I put it in the wrong pot. So I'm going to have to find it in here now. There it is. See, this is why I put washi tape on the end of these. Because you can't tell which are the pearlescent ones. They all look the same. Except for the fact that it says it's pearlescent. And who has time to read that, right? So I'm just going to work straight out the tube with my little water brush. You can hear some peculiar noises in the background. That's my dog snoring. Shall I do her neck as well? Might as well, I think, while I put it out. That's better. I like that. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to go and grab myself a coffee. So give me a second and I will be right back. To what you said about yesterday about the gouache palettes drying out so badly, do you see any issues or cautions with us painting and dipping directly into the tube? With a water brush, no, because you're not adding water to the paint, but I would be very careful about using it with water like that. But gouache, you don't need to add a lot of water to it. You can use it directly from the tube. These are pretty creamy. So I would say just make sure you don't have a sopping wet brush. Just make sure, like I do, you always dry your brush slightly. I just tap it on the cloth. So if I touched it to my skin, it would feel wet, but it's not actually wet. It's not nowhere near wet enough for watercolour. So a damp brush and you shouldn't have any problem. I do that with acrylics all the time and I've never had any problems, but I don't normally do it with gouache because I use quite a lot of gouache at once. Oh, hi Crow. Right. I'll be 2 minutes. I'm just going to grab myself more coffee, go and have a potty break or something, and I will be right back. Ah, coffee. We are back. We are back. Okay. You really like that idea now. Brilliant. Excellent. Okay. It does save a lot of time, especially if you're doing small pieces. I mean, if you're going to paint a whole section, blocking in, I would just squeeze a bit out and close it up, because otherwise the tube itself will dry out. But if you're doing tiny little bits like that and you're going to be swapping your tubes regularly, I think you can get away with it. Are you swapping rooms again, Cody? Or are you just setting up for a weekend of journaling? I can't decide if I'm hot or cold today. I've even got a scarf on, look. I hope I'm not coming down with something, because I have my flu jab booked for Monday. And if I get sick before I get my flu jab, I'm going to be very annoyed. Okay, so you've seen the hair, you've seen the start of the moon. I've got to do some penciling to do on that. You've seen the pumpkin, obviously. You've seen the fabric, parts of the fabric. Before I finish this, because it's going to be pencil, I don't want to be smudging it, so I'm going to do the face. So let's find the flesh tones for the face. Now there are basically, in the 48 set, there are 2 flesh tones, which is apricot and pink macaroon. So you've got a very peachy colour for the face and a very pinky colour for the face, obviously for white faces. I've just noticed there's another one here which is peaches and cream. Actually that might be good as a basic colour, and then this might be good as the shadow colour because it's very slightly darker. For non-white faces, there's a really good selection of kind of mid to dark browny olivey colours. So I think you could get a really good range of tones with those. And there's some beautiful browns. Now if you're doing olive skin or like Indian skin or something like that, Asian, you want to go for yellowy, greeny kind of olive tone colours to get that luminous kind of ochre pigment coming through. If you are doing black skin, I suggest using, depending on which type of black skin, because there's 2 different types of black skin. If you are doing the black skin that is more towards the chocolate brown tones, the warm tones, then I would use the browns and black. And again, in the 48 tone, you can see there's some really nice colours in this. There's that sienna colour as well that I used earlier, which I would certainly use for highlights. You could even get away with that burnt ochre colour, I think. Whoops. For highlights. Or if you want to give it like a makeup effect. I can't find the dark brown right now, but it's the one I used for the hair, which would make a good mid-tone colour. If you're going to do black skin, you know there's like black skin that looks chocolatey and there's black skin that looks like super ebony black. If you're going to go for that kind of skin, I would use the browns and the black, the darkest browns and the black, and add either the ultramarine blue or the amethyst, because that very, very dark skin tone is more of a cool tone brown than, I'm sorry for those of you who actually are of Afro-Caribbean descent, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with black skin tones and the correct terminology, but there are chocolate brown and there are ebony brown, that beautiful kind of black skin that almost looks like polished marble. That is a very cool toned brown, so if you put in blues and purples into that, you're going to get some really gorgeous skin tones with that. Okay, but I paint redheads and we do white. So white and freckles, pale and freckles, here we go. Now her face is very small. Hopefully I can, had your flu shot this morning, yeah. 'Tis the season, right? 'Tis the season. Let me focus. Now, when I colour, I use my pencils virtually upright, but hopefully at this angle, you'll be able to see quite well what I'm doing, because I've got the camera actually tilted down that way. Hopefully this bit won't cover my face too much. What if I move it down a bit that way and tilt her a bit more that way? Hopefully you're still, oh, that's better actually. You can see what I'm doing now, even though I'm upright. So, the sharpener. I did find the sharpener that I bought, actually. It's a no brand one. It's a no name one. But I did find the sharpener that I bought in my orders list, and it's still available, so I will chuck it in my Amazon shop. So for everybody who was asking about my uber sharp pencils, look at that point. Look at that point. Yeah, my uber sharp pencils come from that dinky little thing. So I'm going to do the same with, where's my white? I need my white. My white is in here. Hang on. Whoops. Nearly broke that. Where's my white? Oh look, there's another purple. That's my white. That's the one I want. And oh, that would be an interesting skin tone as well for like, oh, you can't see, sorry. That would be an interesting skin tone for people who've got more of a sandy Asian complexion. Because there's olive skin that's kind of got a greenish glow, and then there's more yellowy skin that's got this beautiful yellow ochre colour. Oh, that is yellow ochre, in fact. So with the other colours, that would be a really nice luminous colour. Basically, the more colours you can put into skin, the better it'll look, because that's just how skin works. Skin is not one colour, which is why when you put your foundation on in the morning, if you're just using one colour of foundation, your face looks flat, and then you have to put like bronzers and toners and highlighters and blushes and all sorts of other things on it to look like you haven't got a flat face again. Otherwise you look like Michael Myers. Which, you know, for Halloween, that's kind of cool. But I suspect the rest of the year, maybe not. I've pulled out my, ooh, quite dirty, pastel pencil as well, because I'm going to use that on the pumpkin to give it a glow. But let's get her face in. So I'm going to use the light pink. Let's see if I can put my pencils here so you can see which colours I'm talking about. So I'm going to use this colour. There's actually a really nice flesh tone in the watercolour pencils. What's this? Oh, that's the Peaches and Cream in the watercolour pencil, which is less pigmented, but it's the same colour. Because this doesn't pigment until you reactivate it. So if you wanted to do this face with watercolour like we did for the moon, you could use the Peaches and Cream and then go over it with water, and that would work. There's also a really nice pale pink here called Pink Macaroon, which I might use because that's very, very pale. That's probably better than this one. This is more of a blush pink. This is your blusher and bronzer, this is your highlight, and this is your skin tone. And since she is a redhead, she's going to be more pinky translucent. So I'm going to even out. Remember, I've already done a layer of colour all over her face in the flesh tone. I think it's light apricot for the gouache. Again, the 12 set has a flesh tone, but the 60 set doesn't have the flesh tone, it has a light apricot, so I don't really know which is which on that. I don't know if one's been superseded the other, maybe, I don't know. Or if they're two different colours. Could just be a misnomer. So I'm just going to give this a base coat just to even out the colour. Okay. And then I'm going to go back in with the peach colour and I'm going to redo her shadows. So I'm basically doing the same as I did with the hair, but instead of working dark, light, blend it with the medium, I'm actually doing medium and then blending the light and the dark over the top. So I'm now going in anywhere where her shadows would be, which is basically where the dark gouache already is, but it's blending it out. So you can see she's got quite a harsh shadow under her nose. I want to blend those edges out a bit. Make it look a little bit less like a moustache and a bit more like a shadow. See? Same under here, less of a tash, more of a shadow. This is going to be quite dark on her neck, but her neck needs the darker tone first, so we can put an even darker tone on it. So we're using the dark tone from the face as the mid-tone from the neck. Does that make sense? Also the ear, which is naturally redder, will be the same colour as the neck. So I generally do it the neck, the side of the neck and underneath, and then the bronzer or blush will go in this area, which will blend the two together so she doesn't have a white face line. So I'm going to use the darker apricot to put some. I'm really not happy with this ear. I may paint over this ear. I don't like doing ears as it is, and this one is really bugging me because it's just so annoying. But that's the beauty of gouache, you can go over stuff, so because it's opaque. So I'm just coming in and hitting the darkest shadows. Just going to be just under her eye, just in the corner of her eye, because remember this sinks in, under her hair there, the little bit under her nose, so again blending that out into the shadow that's already there. The light's coming from that way, but her whole face is in shadow, so she's not really going to have any highlights on her face unless it's reflected light. But what we can do is, once we put the pumpkin light in, we can have the pumpkin light reflecting up into her face. We can have a little bit of a light catching down here, which also means that her eyes, because her eyes are balls, remember, instead of the usual stick two dots in the top right hand corner that we would normally do, her eyes will have the flecks in the bottom left corner to show that the light is coming from up. Okay? But before you can put in tonal lights, you have to put in the normal shadows, because the face is still not a flat plane. So you have to put in the basic shadows first. Well, you don't have to, but that's what I do. I put in the basic shadows first, and then I will go back in and hit the highlights. But her highlights won't be where you'd expect them to be. Normally the light would be coming down, so it would hit the top of her brow, but because it's coming from up, it'll actually hit the top of her eyelids. You would normally hit the top of the nose and the side to hit the light this way, but because it's coming from this direction, it'll actually catch the bottom of her nose where it sticks out. And the bottom side of her cheek and her chin, and the bottom of her lip and her lip where it sticks out, where the top lip would normally be dark. So everything is reversed. It's tricky, but it's doable. So I'm pretty happy with that so far. I think I want to go back in with this very, very light pink and just blend this bit on this side, because this side is actually where most of the shadow is, because it's turned away from the pumpkin and it's also under the hat, so it's away from the light completely. So this side is going to look a little bit flatter. And I think I might need to use the water brush just to blend that gouache out just a little bit more. I think that shadow is a bit dark. So now I'm blending the dark shadow and the gouache and the water brush, or the watercolour pencil, all together. To rearrange that shadow a little bit. I'll do the same down here a little bit as well, because that's kind of where the light's going to hit, actually, for her. It's kind of where her pumpkin light is going to hit. So we might as well do it all while we've got the brush in our hand. Yeah. Now I need to let that dry again. So back to the jumper. I think what I'd like to do with the jumper is do kind of a lacy effect over the top of it. I've done this before and it works really well. So there's my dark purple. Where's my light purple? That's a different colour, light purple, but it'll do for now. So let me pull you out a little bit again. Focus. So I'm going to make her top look like it's got kind of a lace overlay. It'll be fun. First I'm going to go in with the eggplant, the dark colours. Where's the amethyst? There it is. That's what I want. So I'm using amethyst and lavender to go in and give it some tone. Now I'm going to do more of this than I normally would because I'm going to go over it. So where there is shadow, I'm putting lots of shadow. I think I'm going to go over this. This gel pen didn't dry as dark as I wanted it to, so I'm going to go back over this as well. I must not forget to do her hand, because I will forget to do that if I'm not careful. But honestly, the less detail you can put into a hand, the better. Let's cast a bit of a shadow on that wood where the pumpkin is. That's better. I like that. So I'm going to go back in with the dark again and darken up. In fact, I might use the ultramarine. Where's the ultramarine? Because that's quite a cool blue colour. I might use the ultramarine in the shadows, because in the shadows you want a cool colour. Especially on a cool coloured fabric, you want an even cooler colour than you would normally go for. So let's blend a bit of that into there as well. I'm not being super precise and blendy about this because I'm going to cover over it anyway, so. Just hit some of those darkest spots. Cool shadow. I might actually do all of that in shade and not do the split up the side because it's kind of getting finicky doing that. So now using the lightest tone, the lightest bits of the shadow. And I'm going to go back in again with the medium tone and just blend the medium shadow into the light bits. I just find it works better if you go backwards and forwards between the colours. You get less of a harsh line. This is the darkest area down here, so I'm going to go over that again as well. Okay, see, they do blend really well. Now I want a slightly lighter colour where it's going to catch the light. So I need kind of a purpley pink. So I think maybe this one, this fuchsia colour from the watercolour set will look good. I want something that's going to catch the light a little bit. Maybe even a little bit lighter. Let's try this one. Oof, peony. That's a Courtney pet colour, that is. Oh, there we go, that'll work. So obviously her chest area is going to catch the light a little bit because presumably she's got boobs. And these bits coming down here will just catch the light a little bit. Like that. Again, this is a little bit more than I would normally do because I'm going to put it under something else. But you can see how that just gives that kind of firelight glow that we want from the pumpkin. In fact, I think I could even make that a little bit more orangey. If I made that just a little bit more orangey, it might even look a bit better. Yeah, look at that. There we go. There's the orangey light from the pumpkin. Much better. I like that. I really like that. That looks cool. Okay, I need to put some of that orange in her hair now because her hair needs to catch the light. So let's put, oh, I'm going to have to go lighter. Might have to do yellow on the hair because the orange doesn't stand out. So this is like a reflected shadow on top of dark shadow. It's hard to talk about shadows when you're doing working on a nighttime thing, but hopefully that makes sense. We're talking reflections rather than, whoops, ambient light. I like it. Yeah, because purple and orange are complementary colours. Oh, that's right in my face. Sorry, I didn't realise that. Because purple and orange are complementary colours, purple gives a really good lighting effect. Orange gives a really good lighting effect on purple. So does green, which is the other tertiary colour. So if you wanted a cool glow, you could use green. Right, let's do... I want this lovely apple colour. Oh, matcha, it's called. I want that lovely green colour for her eyes. So I'm just going to shove that in there. I'm not bothering to follow the shape of the eye or anything. I'm just colouring. That'll just give me an idea for the face tones, because I want her... Just needs a little bit of blending out. I don't want to go crazy with colouring her lips. Let's use that magenta colour that I used earlier. I like to just put a general colour on lips and then go back in with like black highlights and shadows to define the shape of the lips rather than making it look like they've got lipstick on. Okay, now the satiny bits on her dress will actually pick up quite harsh light. So I'm going a bit more defined and a little bit lighter on those bits, like that. And now we're going to go over it with, should we use, where's it gone? Where's my black? I'm going to use the black watercolour pencil. I'm using the watercolour pencil because it's not as heavy pigmented as the regular pencil. And I'm literally just going to, hang on, I need a sharper point for this. But I'm going to be pressing very lightly, so I don't need to worry about the tip of the pencil going off. And I'm literally just, how can I describe it? I'm kind of doing like figure of 8 motions. Figure of 8 scribbles, if you like. I'm going to work in sections. So I'm going to work all the way down the arm, and I'm literally going from one side to the other. Going back up over what I've already done. And then there will be darker areas in here where the lace overlaps. So I'm treating the lace as a separate layer to the other colours that I've put on. That means the shadows and things will be in a slightly different place. So this plane of the arm comes down this way, so I'm going to do this section like this. Again, just scribbly figures of 8, so I'm not doing anything incredible. Where it's going over the purple shadows and the dark blue shadows that I've already put in, and the lighter bits that I've already put in, it's still keep retaining the colours underneath, you see? So the purple underneath is still glowing, and the dark bits are just getting darker because I'm now putting black over them. I'm not going to bother doing that bit because it's not dark enough to show. I'll have to go back into the really dark bits with my proper pencil. But of course on this bit here I can do it, which is the satin. Missed a bit there. Okay. See how it looks like lace now? It's a cool effect, isn't it? Now on this bit I'm going to do all of this bit in one go, and I'm going over the hair. You'll see why in a second. So just still doing the figure of 8s backwards and forwards. Don't try and be too precise with it. It doesn't matter if occasionally you do a 0 or a B or something instead of a figure of 8. It's more important that you don't suddenly start getting bored and start getting bigger as you go down. It's even happening to me now. See that I started off really tiny and it's getting bigger as it goes down. You don't want to do that. You want to keep it even, because lace generally doesn't do that. So, you know, if you have to stop partway through, or if you have to do each section at a time to keep it small, then that's fine. Go ahead and do it. And instead of doing each one of these individually, because a lace overlay would normally, you know, you get the fabric underneath would lay in peaks and troughs like this does, and then the lace overlay would actually be quite flat over the top usually, unless it's a fitted overlay, but this isn't a fitted overlay because I'm too lazy. My arm would be tired long before I'd finished. So I'm just going all the way across all 3 sections so that it makes it look like the lace goes right the way across. Again, don't allow yourself to get lazy and start getting too big with it. Stop if you have to and keep going. Again, I'm not going to bother going into the very dark bits because this pencil won't even show, there's no point. But it will show over the shiny bits. Okay. How's that for a cool effect? So that was the watercolour pencil because it's less pigmented. Now I'm going to go in with the proper black pencil if I can find it. Is that you? Noir, there we go. Again, I want a nice sharp point. Ooh. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it in the really dark areas. So over here. See how that actually picks up on that darker area now, because this is more heavily pigmented. Doesn't matter about going over the hair. You'll see why in a second. helps you not miss bits around the outside if you go over the hair. Oh, excuse me. Autocorrect. Oh my god, autocorrect drives me insane. It is never duck. Okay, it is never duck. I never meant to type duck. Or at least I never meant to type ducking. Okay. Also, what is it with autocorrect that it can learn, even if you turn off filters and everything, which I always do, it can learn that you've started to spell chicken as chimkin, but it cannot decide not to put ducking. What is up with that? Okay, I'm going back into the dark bits here as well, just to add a little bit more heaviness to some of the lace, where it will naturally, especially where it will be touching her. So some of the lace will be just overlaid and some of it will be actually touching her. So like up here, that will be a little bit more defined. Because if you think about it, the lace will be casting a shadow onto the material. So the lace casts a shadow onto the material unless it's really up close, in which case it'll just look like really defined. So it's going to look a lot less defined where it's not touching her. If you don't understand quite what I mean, go and get a piece of lace and a light and you'll see what I mean. Hold it up close to something and then hold it a little bit further away and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's casting a shadow. Let's put a shadow there. And this is a hard edge. So let's put a hard edge there. This is also a hard edge, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of darker. Because this bit is where it's literally coming up and turning a corner, and as soon as you take lace from being that way to being that way, it does like your fingers do. So if your fingers are the lace, as it goes that way, they look more and more solid and more shaded, right? So the bits of the lace that are turning away from you are going to be darker. Especially on the edges, because you're getting a double thickness or even a triple thickness. So all along this edge of the arm is going to be quite dark. And all along this edge of the arm is going to be quite dark. And along the shoulder line there. And now see, this bit is going flat behind the skirt, so I'm only doing a thin line here just to define where the skirt, the edge of the skirt is. I'm not actually doing shadow in here like this because that's not turning a corner, that's just going behind the skirt. I hope that makes sense. Now with the skirt, what I think I'm going to do is do kind of a velvety sort of effect. So the darkest pencil, though this is more purpley pink, it's a different colour to this. So with this, I'm going to use kind of a side of the pencil scumbly thing. Make it look a little bit more like fabric. Kind of looks like velvet fabric if you do it like this, because you pick up the texture of the paper. And then of course velvet fabric is a dense material, it doesn't shine. So you just end up with very dark folds in the fabric. So you add shadow but you don't add highlight, because you don't get highlights on velvet. That's what makes it look like velvet. Now, because I've got tape at the bottom here, I'm going to end up with a gap, so I'm going to come down this way with the point of the pencil facing into the tape and just scumble in towards the tape because I don't want to end up with a gap of pink. Same on this edge here, just towards the edge with the point of the pencil. Okay, that's nice and even. And then what I want is a really cool blue, so I think I'm going to use my indigo. Where's my indigo? I think it's in here. Indigo! It is. Oh, I don't need a sharp point for this one because I'm using the side of the pencil. So I'm going to go in under where her top is, casting a shadow. And then I can also go in, I can see the pen that I put in originally. So I'm just going back over the pen with the blue to show the creases. And then because it's not fabric, velvet is a thick fabric, so it doesn't really crease. You don't get sharp bends in it like you do with nylon or whatever. So with this, the shadow bits are going to be spread over a wider area, and that will show that it's a heavier fabric. There you go. I like that. Okie dokie. What else do we need? I think that inside there is still not dark enough. Oh no, because it's going to have pumpkin light. Oh, let's leave it. Okay. Let's finish her face. Now I don't want her face to be crazy dark or anything like that, but I am going to use the 0.5. No, that's the 0.7. That's a 0.7. Where's the 0.5? There we go. Here's the 0.5 black. And I'm just going to do her eyelids, her eyelashes rather. So not too heavy, very, very fine. Just give her a bit of a cat eye effect. Like that. That's it. That's all we need. And I'm going to pop her pupils in. And she needs some eyebrows, so let's use the brown to give her some eyebrows. And use the brown just to define her nose a little bit as well. Her chin. Now what am I going to do with that ear? She's got a pig's ear. What are we going to do with that ear? Oh, use the brown on her mouth actually, just to give her a little bit of a pout. Because I'm sitting at an angle, I think her face is a little bit wonky. Yeah, you can actually see it if you turn her straight. The line of her face is there, so her mouth is actually off very slightly. Should be a little further around this way because she's 3/4, she's not fully. So I can fix that by bringing that line of the mouth out a little bit and then adding a shadow to this side, because this turn of her face doesn't have any light coming onto it. So I can add a little bit of dark on this side to blend that out. See, now she looks a bit more like she's supposed to. Let's blend that slightly into there. I didn't want to give her quite that darker lip, but it'll be okay. And I need to move that bit in, so I'm going to use my secret weapon, which is my Palomino Blackwing eraser. And look, this is why I said don't worry about going over the hair. Look, coloured pencil. What colour pencil? I'm sorry, what colour pencil is that? What colour pencil? There was colour pencil there, you say? Really? Of course, I don't press heavily with my colour pencils, but what I do find is these lift the colour pencil rather than smudging it. See? So much better. A little bit too dark on that side. So now I can reshape her face a bit. So I'm going to use the peach. So her cheek, her lip is going to stick out about there. I think her cheeks may be a little bit wide, but what she perhaps should have been. A bit more of that shape. So that's okay. We already know how to fix that, don't we? Because it's over a slightly lighter colour, I'm going to add brown into it as well. I'll let that dry and I'll come back into it with a little bit of what is the word? Pencil. Okay, so I can move this pouty bit of a lip back in on this side and out further on this side. That looks much better. And blend that pencil while it's still quite wet in with the red that's already there. Again, that's making her lips a lot darker than I originally planned to, but yeah. A bit of tidy up around her eyes. Ooh, the gel pen didn't dry very well over the gouache. It's still wet. Hang on. Let's blot it. Oh, it's actually lifting off while it's still wet. Oh, that's handy to know. So that bit's smudged. So let's take that off altogether, shall we? They don't smudge on paper, it's just because I'm smudging on over the top of paint. So let's just do that with the pencil instead. So where's my black pencil? Can't find it. Let's use, oh, there it is. Let's use black pencil instead. It's a bit of a softer look than I was originally going for, but it'll be fine. Just hit the bottom of her eye there, and then put white in the eyes. It's better. Oh, I didn't put lace over that bit there, over her neckline. Probably should have done that. Let's do that as well. So it doesn't look completely odd. Done. Okay, let's use a bit of brown. Where's my brown pencil gone? Let's use that one. Sienna brown. Every time I pick up a brown, it's sienna brown. How is that happening? I just want to add a bit of rough texture to her stick here. And a nice dark brown espresso. That sounds good. On the back edge. Yep. And let's make that stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to use the gel pen just to come down the back of the stick here. I'm not doing a straight line. That would not be a good idea. I just want to add a little bit extra shadow and a little bit more texture to that back edge so that it stands out from her dress. There we go. Voila! Knit! Good morning! Okay, so that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. We need to go back up and do the moon a little bit. That's nice and easy. So where's that nice purpley colour? I want the lavender, the light lavender, there it is. So this is the same colour as her dress, and I'm going to put this into the darker areas of the moon to get it a bit textured. And I'm kind of going out into the lighter areas as well a little bit. So overshooting, basically, where I want it to go. Not being too precise about it or anything. The further back you hold your pencil and the less precisely you hold your pencil, the more random the strokes you'll get. So if you want a really random looking surface, that's what you need. And then I'm going with my lovely elephant grey colour. Ooh, hang on, did I just see my elephant grey in here? Elephant grey! Elephant grey! This is the watercolour version. This is the proper version. I love this colour. I'm just going to go in and hit the bits where I know it's darker. Not in any kind of, not even in that figure of 8 fashion that I was doing on the dress. Don't forget to go right up to the edge of the dress, of the hat. Don't want it to look like there's a gap. Nice and random. I'm going to come down onto some of these bits as well and just do a little bit of texture here and there, because the white bits of the moon are not totally white. And then just on this bit here, just going to add slightly darker edge just there, because the moon is a ball. So this is basically the same effect, or a similar effect as the fabric, because it's going round. As it goes round, it gets darker. Even though it's in light, it's still going to get darker because it's turning away from the light. There we go, that's better. Let's do the same on this side. Of random squiggles and those kind of rocky bits, and you know, just put some random bits in there. The more random the better, basically. And then I'm just going to go in with the black very lightly over the top, just in a couple of places where I know there's a white crater here, so I want to do a little bit of black there, so that white crater really pops. There's also a really dark crater down here somewhere, so I'll put that in, and then we can do white over the top. And again, we can go into the hat so we don't get a line, and then we can use the magic eraser and the Palomino Blackwing and erase the pencil. Don't do it too hard because you'll erase your gouache as well. We don't want to do that. This has got kind of a line here. I don't like that line, I want to get rid of that, so I'm going to put some space grey over the top, and I'm using a watercolour pencil so that if it's still got a line afterwards, I can just wet it and it will splodge out a bit, not to be quite so liney. There we go, that's better. You stayed in bed 20 minutes too long and it threw your entire day off. That's crazy. I overslept by about 4 hours this morning. I'm like, oh well. Oh, he's got hives. Poor little thing. That's awful because it itches like crazy. You haven't changed your fabric softener or something like that, have you? Or check your fabric softener if he's allergic to it, or if he's sensitive to like essential oils and stuff. Check if your fabric softener or your bubble bath or something has suddenly been improved with essential oils, because that's what happened to me. I was covered in hives. I couldn't work out why. Turned out they'd added lavender essential oil to my body wash that I'd been using for years. So I had to find a new body wash because they just decided to add lavender to it, and I'm allergic to lavender, so I couldn't work out why I had hives. That was fun. if it's an allergy, technically, it can be controlled. I mean, it's stressful if you don't know what it is, but, you know, usually allergies can be controlled somehow. She looks mulatto. I don't know what that is. She's got an Irish nose. The worst one I found for anything like that, oh my God. We have a thing, I don't know if it's a worldwide thing, but we have a thing here called Sudocrem, which is basically the Uber type of nappy rash cream. So if you get any kind of bed sores or eczema or dry skin, chafed skin, heat rash, anything like that, you break out the Sudocrem. And then one day, for no reason, they suddenly decided to add lavender essential oil into it. So the one thing that controlled my hives when I got anywhere near lavender, they added lavender too. I was furious. I was like, you don't add essential oils to something that's supposed to help control the reaction to allergies. Yeah, if it's an allergy, any kind of Benadryl or steroid or something like that is going to help it. If it's heat rash, there's not a lot you can do other than cold shower. But a heat rash or like a meningitis rash or anything like that won't respond to an allergy. It'll just stop itching, but it will still be red and horrible. Go get dinner. See you tomorrow. I'm nearly finished here, actually. It's been a long one, this one, but I don't mind. I enjoyed just sitting painting, and I didn't do Twitch this morning because I overslept and then I had to go and get my car tyre done. So and it could still be heat rash. If he's getting hot at night because he's got an extra blanket on or the heating's on or something like that. Have you started putting your heating on? Has it started? Have you started getting warm in the house yet over there? Because you have similar weather to us, don't you? Because something we get a lot is bed bugs. The minute you put the heating on, bed bugs are rife. I always do the bicarbonate of soda thing all over the bed before I put the heating on. Because there's nothing you can do about bed bugs other than kill them and hoover them up. So they're going to happen. But some of us react to them worse than others. And I find that's really good, is just take everything off, cover that entire bed with baking soda, leave it 2 to 3 hours, and then hoover it all up. Give it a really good hoovering. And that'll kill anything that's in the mattress. Oh, it happened at school. Oh, it could have been anything then. I mean, they might have changed cleaners or something. Or he could have sat next to somebody who had a particularly heavy perfume on or something. I hate that when it happens and you're not at home, because you never know what it is. You haven't got your heat on yet. No, I haven't put my heat on yet. It's not quite cold enough. It's cold enough to wear a jumper and put something around your neck. And I have put the little tiny fire on a couple of times because it went really cold in the evening. But I've put it on for like 15 minutes just to take the chill off the room, not like put the heating on. It's quite unusual to be almost at the end of October and not have the heating on, actually. It's nice though. Bills are a lot cheaper. Anyway, let's get back to this, shall we? So I'm pretty happy with how she's looking so far. Let me do a close-up on her face for you. Because again, faces, people get so hung up on faces, but honestly, faces can look really bad before they get better. No faces look perfect. Look, she's got squiffy eyes. I mean, but you can fix that, you know. That's easy to fix. I still don't know what to do about that weird ear, though. She's got an elephant ear. Maybe I'll just paint over it. Ears and hands are hard, and I've already got a hand in there that I'm going to have to deal with. So this should be dry now. I can go over that with a bit of pencil and blend it in. Get rid of that. There we go. You'd never know she had a fat face. Let me see, what can I do with this side? What can I do? If I do, maybe if I give her a little kiss curl. And just cover up that ear. Maybe that'll work. Let's do that. Allergy doctors are good at figuring things out, yeah. Is he gonna have he could do with having the whole battery of tests thing, couldn't he? Do the whole kit and caboodle, because if once you start developing allergies, you get allergies to all sorts of things. The worst one's when you get you start developing allergies to antihistamines. That's when you've really got problems. Okay, so this red curl on the front, mulatto is half white Irish, half black. Oh right, okay, black Irish. All right then. Yeah, that kind of makes sense actually. Yeah, she's got an Irish nose, definitely, because I always draw red-headed girls, so I would nearly always draw them Irish. Or Celtic is the correct term. Celtic or Gaelic, but... kiss curl. Okay. So let's do... I'm doing it in brown first to give a base layer over that skin tone. And then while it's still wet, not that it matters, but it's marginally easier to do it while it's still wet, I'll go in and do the red over the top, because that'll make it stand out from the red in the background. Blend that bit in there. Tighten up this line a bit. I don't know what happened to this edge of her hair, but something I did made it go a bit weird. There we go, that's better. That's much better. Yes. When in doubt, get rid of the ear. A little bit more red colour in here as well, because I painted over that, I think, and I raised it a little bit too much. I'm going to go over it with pencil anyway, but... Oh, here's a tip. Sometimes you'll find this happens with all paint. This happens, you start getting a bulbous. Hold the thing at the neck here and just squeeze the bottom sideways. See how that disappeared back in? I think maybe I put purple under here originally and then I painted over it, because this is kind of a funny colour there. But it's okay. We can fix it. And I'm just going to do another layer on this now it's drying, just so it's nice and opaque. Be very careful not to disturb the layer underneath. So you've got to kind of block the paint down. There we go. Lost my cloth again. I don't know what's happened to that. I think I want to make her eyes a little bit more green. Have I got metallic green? Ooh, that would be cool. Ooh, I've got a gold. Emerald green. Ooh. Ooh. Eucalyptus green. Ooh. Oh, that's a pretty colour. That's a very pale. Very, very pale colour. It's more of a grey than a green, but it's really nice. Oh, look at that. Ooh. That's lovely. You can't see it in the white, in the glare, sorry. But trust me, it's lovely. I'm really into these metallics, they're very nice. Never seen metallic gouache before. So that's a little bit pale. I want a bit more oomph to her eyes than that. Let's try. Oh yeah, that looks like it'll be better. See, this is why this is my studio jumper. I'm nearly always wearing this jumper when I'm painting because I use it like a... Fortunately, I mostly use watercolour paints or water-based stuff. And also with it being chunky knit, I can brush acrylic off it. So let's see. Let's make her eyes a little bit more pretty, a little bit more fey-like. I think with the little bit more of a magical changeling type of the green metallic eyes. Oh yeah, I like that effect. That's pretty. Can you see? Oh yeah, that does show up on camera, doesn't it? Very nice. Now if I use black over that again, if I go back in with black over that, it's going to be too dark. So I'll probably use pencil again. Need that to dry, so let's do the hair on this side and then we're nearly done. Oh, hand. Hand. I need to do her hand. Use the dark peach to get the shape of her hand. So let's see. The thumb is going to come down over here somewhere. And so we'll say that's a finger there, and we'll say that's a finger there. And we'll say that finger's covered up there. By her thumb. So that's going to be in shadow. So her thumb will come round like this. I don't want to get too detailed with the hand because hands are a pain. I do the barest minimum on hands that I can get away with. Okay, I think that I need to get rid of that bit there. So I use the purple to go over it there. Okay. And add the pinkier of the two pinks because hands tend to be slightly more reddish. Use the pink for shading. That actually needs a little bit more up there, doesn't it? So let's reactivate this bit of gouache here. Just bring it up there like that. There we go. That'll do, that's close enough. We don't need our hand to be perfect. We don't need any of it to be perfect, but our hand especially. Ain't nobody got time for that. Where's my brown pen? So I'm just going to do exactly the same for the hair on this side as I did the other side. Let's do, that's not quite dry yet. So let's stay away from that bit. Let's work with her curls here. And I think this would have a bit of a curl there. That looks like it should have a bit of a curl. Like that, and then down here. Define this one a bit better because it's against a dark background, so we need it to have a bit more of a dark edge so that it stands out. Same with this one. So this is coming down, let's see, this is kind of going out all over the place over here. So I think this would come down like that. And maybe those two curls would blend into each other like that. And since this is in shadow over here, I'm going to give this quite a hard edge on this side. Now I've done her hair, I can do that underneath the brim of her hat, but I don't want it too harsh against her head, against her face, so I'm going to use my dark pencil. Where's my very dark purple? There it is. And I'm going to do like that. Do a bit more dark in here, I think. Let's add a bit of extra to that shiny up there. And that is reflecting moonlight rather than pumpkin light. So let's get a bit of white shine on there to show that it's satin. There we go. I'm loving her textures. This is going well so far. Okay, now this curl I think would come down there. Again, and give it a dark outline where it's on her dress because I want it to stand out. And then that actually means that that bit of her neck there is going to be a bit darker, so I'm going to use the brown again just to add a little bit more shadow in there. And then this side of her face will have a little bit more shadow where her hair is casting a shadow on it now. That's much better. Seems to have two nostrils on this side. I don't know how that happened. There we go, that's better. The lip dip. I'm just going to do the lip dip. I don't know why it makes such a difference to her face, but it does. I think I like the look of this. This pencil is quite dark, and also it won't smudge, so maybe I'll use that. Yeah. Because the graphite is very slightly metallic looking as well, so her eyes will look properly metallic then. And then we add the magic of eye brightening, and I think I'm going to do just the corners of her eyes as well. She's got colour in there, so they won't look as white. I can always add a little bit of pink over them if I feel I need to. So, that's how she's looking so far. I still need to do the pencil on her hair on one side, but you've already seen me do that, so I'm not really too worried about that. I want to get her bits and pieces going. I think her face now needs that orange glow from the pumpkin, so let's find our pumpkin orange. Hand as well will have that, but that's still wet, so I can't do that yet. A little bit on her neck there. She could do with a bit more on her hair. I think what I might do is do white pencil and then go over it with yellow afterwards. Oh, maybe the white will do actually. Picking up all the other colours underneath, you see, so it's not going to be pure white. And I also want to use this magic thing, which is a Conti pencil. And all I'm going to do is around the outside of the pumpkin. Don't need to do it on the light bits because it won't really show, but on the dark bits here, it's not going over the waxy pencils quite as well as I would like, but now we can do some highlights. Again, the white highlights are not going to stay white because they're going to pick up the colours underneath. And that's already turning yellowy. It's nowhere near as bright white as it would normally be. See you later, Crow. And I'm going to put some A little bit of white on her cheek there. Not all the way down, I just want to catch the very highlight bits. So on her nose she'll have a little bit of highlight. Just under her eyebrows there she'll have a little bit of a highlight. You may have to go in and fix her eyes a little bit. I'm just going to put a very smidgy bit of highlight on her dress here, but I'm going to tap it out so that it's there, but it's not so much highlighting, it's putting holes in the black bits. See, it does make a difference. A bit there, a bit there. I'm really just doing it where the light underneath would show through. I think she'd have a couple of bits here that would catch the light. Like that. The glowy effect. Yep, I like that. So I need to do a little bit more on her face and I need to finish her hair, but this stream's going to be like 40 hours long if I spend too much longer doing it. So I think what I'm going to do is just add the last finishing details, which is, again, I don't want to go overboard with too many heavy dark details in the front, but she does need something to attach her pumpkin. I just realised I haven't done the pumpkin stalk. I need a green. Gonna need to do a green pumpkin stalk, aren't I? That looks pumpkin-like green. Sap green, yeah, that'll do. Universal green. So if her string is coming down here, let's say her pumpkin stalk is going to be maybe there. I'll bring it down over the edges of the pumpkin a little bit, because if I remember correctly, that's how they grow. And I'm reactivating the red underneath this to give that green kind of a shadow edge on one side. There we go. That looks better. The slightest thing, I tell you, it's the slightest thing. Okay. I'm just wondering, does she need a bat? Do we think we need a bat on the moon? She doesn't feel witchy enough. I think she needs a bat on the moon. I've got some stamps here. I've got a bat that's a really good shape and I can colour it in. And I think he's about the right size as well. Let's put a bat on the moon. Okay, so he will be... Let's put him there, flying off the edge of the picture. Across the moon. Like that. then I'm going to use the black gel pen in the 0.7 to use that so I don't smudge anything. And I'm just going to colour it in complete black. I don't need to colour this bit because that's over the edge of the tape. That's going to come off. And because these gel pens don't seem to like covering completely, I'm using little circular strokes, which seems to be working better. I'm not getting streakiness with it, so that's good. I could have got the gouache out and done this with the gouache, but ooh, waxy pencil. Will gel pens work over the waxy pencil? Just about, they do, kind of. You have to kind of blot the ink down. Let's turn it this way a bit so I can see what I'm doing better. There we go, that's easier. So it does work over the wax. It wouldn't write over the wax, but you can colour over the wax quite well. It just doesn't work as well as over the paint, but that's to be expected, to be honest. It's not doing too bad, given that gel pens don't normally work at all over wax pencil. I mean, it's struggling, but it is working. It's a little bit more effort than I would normally like to put in, but there we go. That's better. I like that. That's kind of cool. Kind of cute. Yeah. It needed something witchier, didn't it? Needed something witchier. Now I think what I want to do is have her. I want her to have a pendant that's like flying off somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to do a kind of like that. And I'm going to do it just in regular silver uniball because we don't have anything in the Art-eza pens that's... I think they do a set of metallics, but I don't have the metallics, so... I don't want it to be too crazy, but I want her to have just a little bit of a pendant coming down, flying in the wind. And let's give her a, oh come on, she's a witch, let's give her a pentagram. Now I want to define the edges of that because it's kind of flying up, so I'm going to have it a little bit of a drop shadow on it with pencil. I always feel it works better with pencil than with anything too dark. Plus pencil goes over gel pen really well, which is always a good thing. But you can really, so you can add a lot of detail to it. And then I'm just going to put a tiny bit of white on some of the bits. Again, it's gel pen over gel pen, so it won't stay white. It'll look stark white and then it'll go kind of a different colour. But just a little bit of, you know, where it would catch the light would be a little bit brighter. So let's do a little bit of highlighting on her chain and on her silver and on the inside of this bit here. There we go. I like it. I like it. So all I've got to do now is her hair on that one side, but you've already seen me do that. It won't take me very long to do it, and I'll probably just sit here and finish it off. But for those of you who need to get going, or, you know, you've been sitting here for 3 hours and you're bored now, obviously that might be something that you want to go and do something else. Let me see, let's get her in focus. So there's the pumpkin. See her necklace? Just the little addition of the silver with the white and the pencil makes it really stand out quite well. Her hair will be sorted out on this side. You can see the white on her hat. It's still white, it's still lighter, but it's not white anymore. It disappears. I think I need to do that edge of her hat, needs to have a little bit of dark and light on it. So I'm going to redefine the dark edge of the hat. There. So it stands out against the white of the moon. A little bit better. Hi Lisa. You are very late. I'm almost finished. But I'm not completely finished, so I'm going to finish off, but I'm just, you know, I know there's a few people who've probably been here since 3 o'clock are a bit bored by now. So I'm just going to add, next to the dark bit, a little highlight for her hat. Highlights nearly always work better if you put a little bit of a dark next to it. They just kind of, I don't know, it just looks better, I think. A highlight always looks better if you put a dark next to it. See? Much better. So now I'm going to finish her hair on this side. So same thing again, dark, light, and then the bright red, and then I'll go back over it with the yellow and white to give it the shine where the pumpkin is catching the light on her hair. I might even go in and add some white gel pen in a few places because it needs it, I think. So let's put the darks in first. Which is mostly going to be this side. And also, let's not forget her hat. We said the circle comes down here. So all of this is going to be dark. Under here. And we'll blend it in with the red later. So this is going to be a little bit lighter, but still darker. It's lighter but darker. Light but dark, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. You know what I mean. Blend this bit in here. I'm skipping through this quite quickly because I've already done it on the other side. So if you missed it on the other side, there is a longer thing of me doing the hair on the other side and how to do it. It's quite hard to see with the light from the camera, I'm afraid, but maybe if I put it at an angle like that, it might be easier. It's got too much, it's got so much light coming at it now because I need to be able to see. What if I use my tin? Angle it against my tin, would that be better? Oh, there you go. If I hold it there, you can see it a bit better now. So when I go in with the red, which I've now lost because I put my tin down. I need the red, the white and the yellow. There we go. Whoops. So the red is the highlight on the left. And all these bits that are not standing out against the thing with hair, especially if you do curly hair like I do, you don't want to make it look too uniform. Curly hair, trust me, it's not uniform. I mean, look. Does my hair look uniform? No. You're obsessed with your junk journal. Oh, I love junk journaling. Have you discovered Joanna Clow yet? Ooh, you know what? I like that. I'm just going around the edge. This is completely by accident. I went round the edge of that. Ooh, that's coming off. I need to do that. I went round the edge of that and just accidentally caught her hair, the red on the edge of her hair. And actually, it makes her eyes pop. So, do a little bit more of that. Yeah, I managed to goof that up, so I can't be bothered. I'm just going to go in with a bit of gel pen and fix that. I should get the gouache out, but it's my sketchbook. I don't care. Live and learn. So don't go too hard over the pencil, over the gouache. Watching all the YouTube videos. I like Gail Agostinelli. She does a lot of sewing extra bits into her journal, which I like. She's like the pocket queen. I like Joanna Clow because she just does simple stuff. Just chuck it in, make it work. I've seen her do junk journal pages where she's literally put a photo and a sticker and it still looks good. So I don't know what to do with this page, but I don't like that paper, so I'll put a big photo on it and put a sticker on some washi tape and I'm done. Who else do I like? Ooh, Pink Oddbird does some really interesting tutorials for ephemera. Amity Bloom is the queen of boho. Lisa Rosu is the queen of theme. She does, like, she'll find a Chinese letter or something, or a set of letters, and she'll do an entire story book based on it. It's amazing. A lot of the people, though, they make junk journals. They don't fill junk journals. And I like to see people filling junk journals. That's why I like Johanna Clow. Or Johanna Clow. And, who's the other girl I've just been watching recently? I was literally just watching her last night. Where's my YouTube list? Yeah, I like the gothic ones, but it's all vampires and black lace. Which is, I think there's a difference between making a gothic themed junk journal and being a goth who makes junk journals. Mine are quite dark, but they're not always just black lace and stuff. Oh, Gypsy Rose Papery. She's amazing. She does junk journal grimoires. Oh. Again, she doesn't fill them very often, but she does do amazing work. But I like to watch people filling them. Courtney Diaz does amazing junk journals as well. She does a very modern type. I do find a lot of the filling of junk journals tends to just be, let's make fake vintage ephemera and throw it all in there, which is not really my thing. I know there's some people really enjoy that, and I'm not knocking it at all. But it's not my thing. I like to use actual vintage ephemera, or, you know, just ephemera, because guess what? The bus ticket, here's a good example, okay? I've got a junk journal from 2005. I should dig it out, actually. I kept bus tickets and stuff and things like that, and I shoved them in as part of the background and things like that. And you know what? 15 years on, those are now considered vintage. I've got stuff from the 80s that is, it's not really junk journaled, because junk journaling back then was more of a painting thing than a scrapbooking type art journal thing. It was less about adding paper and more about just painting on stuff. But I did used to do tip-ins and stuff and layers in my journal in a junk journal fashion that people do now, like making pockets and stuff and shoving stuff in, but on a flat page. And Maddie, leave your feet alone. That sort of stuff I really enjoy watching, because everybody does it a bit differently. But all of that stuff that I've got from like 1984, from when I was in high school, you go on eBay and 1980s stuff is classed as antique. Are you kidding me? 40 years? But apparently it's 25 years is vintage, 15 years is retro, 25 years is vintage, 40 years is antique. So all the stuff from my childhood is antique ephemera or vintage ephemera. So I'm going through all my old journals and pulling out scraps of receipts and crap and papers and school reports and stuff. There's people selling things like, I found somebody selling 5 pages of handwritten notes from the 1950s. 5 pages, £15. That's £3 each. I've got handwritten letters shoved into my journals from when I was a kid. I was a pen pal for a load of people. I can pull those out of... Yeah, thermal receipts I always used to photocopy. I knew about that. That's what bothers me about these thermal printers. That's why I don't have a thermal printer. The zinc ones are different, because that's Polaroid zinc technology. So it would be no different to a Polaroid. It'll change colour, but it won't disappear. But yeah, thermal printers, I think a lot of the people using thermal printers will find that their stuff doesn't last more than a couple of years before it disappears, which is a shame. I just need to see, you keep distracting me. yeah, I can go through all my old journals. In fact, I have quite a few journals that I don't really want to keep. They're from my angsty teenage years, and I don't really still want to keep them. There's not really any point because it's not like I have anyone to give them to or anything like that. So, and I don't really want to keep them myself. But I've never really been comfortable with just, oh, let's just throw them away. So what I thought was I might pull some of the pages out, pull some of the really old ones out, and just use the paper that I've already written on for junk journaling, because it's got my handwriting on, it's got my previous artwork on, it's old paper, and then it's recycling it rather than getting rid of it. I think that might work. So that's something I'm going to look into, I think. Right. I still need to, I may have to put some more gouache on that one. Actually, I've got the gouache here, so let me just do that anyway. Because that is, I've managed to, because I've done 2 layers of gouache, I've managed to scuff it up with the pencil. So I'm just going to lay over that one. There we go. So now our hair's got some highlights in it as well. Could maybe do with a couple more, but I'm going to wait on that one. I'm going to go over the bat. The bat is not quite... Oh, sorry, my chair's getting uncomfortable after this length of time. My bat needs a little bit more oomph, I think. So I'm going to go over him with a pencil. Hopefully that won't lift off. Because this is gel pen over... This is gel pen over gouache. No, gel pen over pencil over watercolour pencil over gouache. Yeah. Ooh, the pencils go nicely over the gel pens. Ooh, it feels so good. Ooh, it feels weird. It's like velvety. Feels different to colouring on the paper. Ooh, I like this. How strange. I would never have expected that. Ooh, and it's making the pencil go really matte as well. Okay, I found a use for the gel pens. They were really nice under the colour pencils. Oh yeah, I like this. It feels kind of velvety and it's going really matte instead of waxy. Oh, happy accident. I like it. Oh, scuffed it up there, sorry. Whoops. You have to be very careful, you can't go too heavy. Because if you catch the gouache, it starts lifting up, see? But I can fix that with a bit more gel pen, so. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'll just use the very thin gel pen just to go and fill in those white dots. Because I don't want to go back over the pencil. I don't want it to be shiny. Again, I like the velvet look. That's very cool actually. Couple of odd bits there. Might need my thicker pen. If all else fails, I can go with a bit black gouache. Might have to, yeah, I might have to do that. It's lifting up too much. I'm just going to pop a bit of black gouache because that will bug me. A silhouette needs to be black. Schminker! Lovely Schminker. How is she? The floofiest viewer I have. You right, Boo? Do you need to go wee? I think Boo needs a potty break as well. So I'm going to finish in a second. Just going to finish this off and we're done. Well, apart from the best bit of any painting, of course. right there, boo? There we go, that'll do. Oh, that's cool actually. That's given him kind of a mottled look. I like it. And now, the best bit. Because who doesn't love doing this bit, right? Let's hope it doesn't stick now. So that's usually what happens to me, is it all sticks. Oh, what? Baby, what did you do? What's the matter, Bubs? Oh, I don't know what's up with her. You alright, sweetie? I didn't kick you, Bubs. I know I didn't, because you're too far away. What did you do? She might have got her foot caught in the blanket. Okay, here we go. The best bit. Let's hope it doesn't stick too badly. Oh, it is stuck quite badly, but never mind. It's got a clean edge, I don't care. Okay, 1 second, baby. Yeah, it's ripping up the paper. Doesn't normally do that. I think it's been on there too long. But it doesn't matter, as long as it's got a clean edge, that's what I want. Shh, 1 second, babe. 1 second. What's the matter? What did you do? Did you hurt yourself, sweetie? I don't know what she's done, but she's not happy. Yeah, left this on for far too long. I don't normally leave it on for more than 24 hours. It's been on for 3 days. But look how pretty. Oh, is that not just the satisfying thing? 1 second, babe. 1 second. I promise. 1 second. I'm going to have to hurry up because my dogs need to go pee. I will put a photograph of her on Instagram with all the close-ups and everything. But there you go. There's my Halloween witch. All done from start to finish with the sole exception of a couple of pencil lines and a couple of bits of white and silver with the Art-eza products. For those who want to watch a fast version of this, I will edit one together and put that out sometime next week. So if you don't want to go back and watch the entire thing, you don't have to. Oh, I've still forgotten to do one thing, I promise, one thing. I just need to do a little tie and a little tie here and the pumpkin string. There we go. She's all done. And I think as a Halloween treat, I will give you a copy of her to put in your junk journals. So when I put out the short version of the video next week, in the description I will include a PDF download of her that you can download and print out. And nope, that needs to be silver. That's not going to stand out. And you can print her out and put her in your junk journals for Halloween. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed these tutorials and I will see you all again next week. I've got to go because my puppies need some potty time. Bye.